Welcome into More Important Issues. It is Tuesday, July 7th. We have another great Vol Tales for you all. This one with VFL, Landon, I think, said it in the intro, legend Chris Lofton.
Legend. That's all you can say. I mean, that phrase "shoot or shoot" that's from Chris Lofton.
Oh, for sure. Was not afraid to pull the trigger. And he actually talks about how Bruce Pearl promised him that when after Buzz Peterson was fired and then Bruce Pearl took the job. He obviously contemplated his future at UT and think he made the right decision.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, he talks about how it was his home for
Mm-hmm.
4 years. He talks about how much he loves it and how he can't wait to get back and practice with the team and stuff like that. And that's all you can ask for guys that not only come back but want to come back
Right.
more and more. And he's been overseas a lot, so I know that's been difficult. But for him to just come back and practice with the players, and he talks about he's getting up there in age, and still doing that. I think that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, no, it's great. Appreciate his time and him coming on. Some great, couple great stories, and then talking about his time at Tennessee, and even tells us some plans. I think everyone was upset that the Volunteers weren't playing in the TBT, but they're gonna be there next year, and Chris Lofton plans to be shooting lights out next year too, or all now.
Yeah, TBD and TBT.
I Volunteers to win it next year.
Take it to the bank.
Guys, I hope you all enjoy this Voltels. Make sure you like, follow, share. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. Also, tag it. We love the Voltels. Tag some more VFLs you'd like to see on the show. We'd love to get them on and love to talk about Tennessee.
For sure. This is our interview with the new Voltails with Chris Lofton. I'm All American SEC Player of the Year, Chris Lofton. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be on the show. I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. So I just you're playing basketball professionally. So what's it been like for you to get in the gym and things like that during this whole quarantine thing?
I mean, it was difficult. The gyms are starting out back to really open, so I'm getting in there a little bit more now. But for those first couple months, I say maybe 2.5 months, I was at home just doing like push-ups and crunches, and
Yeah.
that was it. Everything was closed, so it was tough. But it was actually I looked at it as in like a kind of a blessing too, just because maybe it was time just to be able to rest my body as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
You need that kind of stuff.
Sure. So, did you get creative in any kind of workouts or anything like that? You mentioned push-ups and crunches, but did you do
Yeah.
anything else to?
Not really. I was doing some clap push-ups, different angle push-ups, different crunches, some planks. I'm trying to think what else, like calf raises. Yeah, I was looking online, different stuff. Honestly, like just whatever I could do. Like hip stuff with the bands. So I was mixing it up, but it wasn't the same as being in the weight room. So
Difficult.
it was getting
So,
tough.
yeah. So, you're from Maysville, Kentucky, which you mentioned is about an hour away from Lexington. So, kind of tell us how you got to Tennessee. Like, what was that recruiting process like? You're Mr. Kentucky basketball. So, what was that kind of process like, and how did you end up at Tennessee?
Well, my senior year, we were playing in the state tournament, and our first game was against a coach who played at Tennessee, like I think he played in the '60s or '70s. So I had a pretty good game, and the coach ended up calling Tennessee and was like, "Y'all need to take a look at this kid." And at the time, Buzz Peterson was coach. He came down to Maysville, watched me play some games, like some pickup, and next thing he invited me down to Knoxville to take a visit, and it was that was the deal. Like it was my first like major D1 scholarship at the time, so it was a no brainer for me. SEC was close to home, and it was so glad to be involved. Like looking back, it was the best decision of my life.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're living in Lexington, so that's home to all the Kentucky Wildcats. So with and I think your family were Louisville fans, and all you
Mm-hmm.
knew was Kentucky basketball. So I mean, what was that like? Not being recruited by them, did that kind of like fuel your fire a little bit? Kind of use it as motivation?
Yeah, definitely, man. There was, it was hurt. As a Kentucky kid, like you grew up playing at, Rep Arena. You played at UK, at Louisville, and for me not to have the opportunity, it was tough. And I remember just, always having that chip on my shoulder. Just thinking like, they didn't want you. Nobody really wants you. They don't think you're good. And I always use that as motivation. Like when I went to the weight room, when I went to workouts, like it was just like me, just it was like me versus the world. I was just trying to prove everybody wrong and say you got it wrong about me. Like I can play at this level. I can play at a high level, a Division I school and be successful.
Yeah, so I mean, you're Mr. Basketball in the state of Kentucky. How does a Mr. Basketball winner get out of with Louisville and Kentucky in that state, and then go to a rival in Tennessee? How does that happen?
Man, you tell me.
I mean,
Your guess is as good as mine. But
Tennessee feels lucky for sure, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. I mean, I didn't. I always thought that like I'd be in Kentucky or Louisville. Growing
Mm-hmm.
up, Kentucky versus Louisville game was like a must watch in my house. I mean, still to this day, I have to watch it if I'm able. So I just knew I was going to play in that game at some point, and it just wasn't meant to be. And I look back and realized that like Tennessee was the best place for me, and things may not work out the way you want, but it always works out for the best.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned Buzz Peterson, and I think he left after your freshman year, and then Bruce Prill took over. So what was that kind of transition like? Did you think about transferring or anything like that? What was kind of Bruce Prill's message, I guess, to you when he took over?
Yeah, definitely. When Buzz got fired, man, everybody was reaching out to me. Kentucky and Louisville were calling and texting, telling me to come. I could come to either one of those schools, Cincinnati, and I really considered it. I was considered Kentucky, Louisville for sure, but at the end of the day, it was like, I mean, y'all didn't want me then, y'all didn't want me last year, so
Yeah,
like,
forget y'all.
bye. Then I thought about having to sit out a year, and I definitely didn't want to do that.
Mm.
So Bruce gets the job, and he just had that Sweet 16 run with University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the way they played, we talked, and he was like, "You'll fit perfect in my system," and you know, talking to God, it was just like, maybe I just need to stay here, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
And you talk about kind of all this. You talk about it going to Tennessee was the best decision ever, and then staying at Tennessee because Buzz Peterson, you're the coach that recruits you, leaves, and I feel like it worked out in your favor to play under Bruce Pearl at a time that Tennessee saw some of the most success it's ever seen, especially in the last 30 years. What was that transition like to play in on a pretty lackluster team your freshman year outside of your success, and then going to a complete resurgence in Tennessee basketball?
It was great, man. Just like day and night, man. It was my
Mm-hmm.
freshman year was a disaster. It was bad. Like it was beyond bad.
Right.
It just wasn't good. Like and that next year with Bruce, he came in and changed the offense. He changed everything. He was a proven winner, and we brought into a system, and we went from nobody coming to our games to like packed every
Mm-hmm.
game. It was so fun, and Bruce did a great job. He's doing at Auburn right now, and he he changed the culture for sure at Tennessee basketball.
Do you have any kind of moments or stories that stand out to you? Maybe, I'm sure there's some that you can't share, but maybe any any that you can share.
Like what kind of stories do you mean? Like what?
Just like with players, with Bruce Pearl, with I mean even Buzz Peterson, or any fan interactions that you had or anything like that.
Hmm. I mean, I would say I remember my freshman year. I really I feel like we lost like 4 games in a row, and like we finally won, and I was just like, I was interviewing. I got interviewed, and I was just like, I don't even remember the last time we won, and it was dead serious. I didn't remember. I was like, who did we win? When did we win? It was like probably like two or 3 weeks ago. Like it was that, and I mean, I would say my favorite moment, like as a Raw, was being that Memphis versus Tennessee game.
Mm.
That really brings back memories. Just the hype leading up to the game. We're in the hotel. It was packed. Tennessee, Memphis, #1 versus #2, ESPN, and those stories like that stick out to me. Just to go from my freshman year to beat Memphis and being ranked #1 in the world. That was special.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
And what's that SEC too? You talked about SEC basketball so high. I feel like that's something a lot of people, especially national media, don't appreciate outside of Kentucky and Florida too
Sure.
when you played. But what's that SEC schedule like, night in, night out? I imagine that's the stretch of games your freshman year that you
Oh,
don't
for
lose.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, every SEC game is tough, especially on the road. Like
Hmm.
people don't know how hard it is to play on the road. The team might be 0-6, but like they're gonna be ready for you. You know what I'm saying? Especially like my last year, like we were #1, ranked #3 preseason, so we're gonna get everybody's best game, and we knew we had to bring it because people were gonna give their best games against us. The crowd was gonna be packed, it was gonna be sold out, so we just had to bring it, every night.
You talked about that Memphis game and how it was probably your favorite game. Maybe looking at some other games, what are some that stand out to you? There's the Winthrop game where you hit the game winner in the NCAA tournament. There was the Texas game, of course.
Yeah,
There was I think the 31 points against Kentucky. Which besides that
yeah.
Memphis game, which one was probably your next favorite one?
Yeah, well, I'd say the Memphis game, team wise, like for me, individual, my favorite game, my best game. I mean, people always talk about the KD versus Texas, which it
Hmm.
was a good game, but I really didn't play that good, honestly. I didn't play that good.
Yeah,
So if I had to choose, it would probably be either that the Memphis game in 2000, my junior year. So it was 2006 at that time, but the 2006 2007 season at home, we played them, and I played pretty good that game. The Kentucky game and Rupp Arena when we won. The Georgia game on the road, I think I had like 8 threes maybe.
yeah, that
So
was your
those
career high, wasn't it? I think around 38 or something like that, 36.
30, 33, I think 33,
Oh, okay, 33. Okay.
33. Yeah. So those 3 games really stick out, but those 3 games were special. But that Memphis one, I don't. I think the Memphis one was my favorite just because like I was not just shooting threes, like I was getting to the rim. I had a couple mid range. It was like more variety.
Yeah.
And then so Florida was Florida '06. Was that the time you all beat them twice in one season?
Yeah, yep, yep.
And
06.
how hot was it at Florida?
Oh, so hot, man.
They turned the
So
AC
hot in
off,
that
right?
game. Yeah, man, it was so hot there. '06. Yep, I remember that. It was hot every year down there. It was so hot in there. Man, it was like I don't know. I can't even describe the heat. It was it was ridiculous. Like we didn't even have to stretch for real. Like we could have been ready.
Right.
Like as soon as we walked out there,
Just pouring
it was
sweat.
bad.
Playing in
Pouring
a
sweat,
sauna.
That's exactly what it was. It was a sauna. That's exactly what it was. Playing in the sauna.
I have to
So
imagine though, you all just ran a lot under Bruce Pearl. So I got to imagine it
Yeah,
was
for
kind of
sure. Sure.
you're kind. I mean, outside the heat, kind of used to it being.
Definitely, definitely. We were in great shape. Preseason and conditioning with Bruce was tough. So we was ready for these moments like that.
and Bruce Pearl didn't lie to you. Shooting guards under him, that's what you want to be. I mean, look at Bryce
For
Brown a
sure.
couple of years ago. That was insane. They just seemed to show out. So if anything, Bruce Pearl did not lie about that.
No, he did not lie. That's what I'm saying. If you're a 2 guard and Bruce is recruiting you, you're gonna have the green light.
Yep,
Yeah,
go now.
yeah.
So you mentioned the KD, and I got to bring it up. Just I know everybody does, but have you got to talk to Rick Barnes about that?
Not really. I think we mentioned it to him a little bit, but it was not a long conversation.
I want to hear. I want to be a fly on the wall during that conversation. That's,
I have to ask him about it again.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard he's a world class trash talker. So next time you see him, I think you need to. I know he's a Tennessee guy
Trash.
now, but let him have it.
He's a world class trash talker, man, for sure. Every time he sees me. So one day, I'm in the gym and I was changing my shoes. Like we had just got done working out or playing or something. So I was changing my socks too. And he walked in and saw my feet. He's like, "You don't work hard. You got too much. You're pretty. Your feet are too pretty." So every time he sees me, he's like, "You got pretty feet. You don't work hard." Every time now. He says it to everybody. He's like, "Oh, you know him. He don't
Have
work
you
hard. He got pretty feet."
have you gotten to go back and practice with the team a lot in the off season or anything?
I play pickup with him sometimes when I'm around.
Okay.
It's been a few years. I'm trying to think what year that was. It was either 2 or 3 years ago I played pickup with him, but it's been a while since I have. Did I play last summer? I may have played it once or twice last summer too.
What are those? What's going back to Tennessee like now? Because I obviously you weren't a Tennessee guy before, Kentucky, Louisville guy, Kentucky more than anything. I'd think. What's it like to be all in on Tennessee now and be around?
I mean, it's nice, man. I tell you what, I feel so old around him now, but it's good to be back, because it's like, I mean, that's my second home basically,
Mm.
and I love Knoxville. I love the fan base. They've been so good to me, and I just, every time I laced them up, I just wanted to give my all for them because they took a chance on me that nobody else will. So like Knoxville, Vols, like will always have a special place. It's one of the reasons I worked so hard and was so like focused and determined. It just nobody wanted me, and I was just like, okay, so I got to do extra. I'm just gonna give Vol Nation everything I got, no excuses. Win or lose, they know I left it all there on the floor every single night, and I just had that motto when I got there. Just just to give them everything I had, and just to show them how much I appreciate what they did for me.
So you still outshoot all those guys, right? You still
Oh yeah,
outshoot
I would say that. Yeah, for sure.
So Chris, most people dream about traveling the world, but you actually have gotten paid to do so the last 10 or so years. So what's that kind of been like, and what are some of your favorite maybe experiences overseas?
I mean, it's been fun. I've been blessed. Turkey, Spain, Russia, France, Lithuania, South Korea. Those are the 6 countries like I played in their league. And then, for games I've been all over. Italy, name it. Like I've had to get another passport because I had so many stamps. I've had to get a new passport. So I've been everywhere, and just for basketball. So it's been blessed. At first I was scared to go. Like every other kid, you have your heart set on the NBA, and it's not that many spots. It's not
Yeah.
easy to make it to the NBA. So you think that it's over, and you go to overseas, and it's tough. Mentally being over there for that long, especially your first few years, and but after that I got used to it, and I took advantage of it. I was like, well, I'm over. I'm gonna make the most of it. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
see some things. I might haven't seen, like some landmarks. Museums, like different things. Just to say I've been there before.
Yeah.
And you're in Korea right now, is that right?
I was in
Well,
South Korea last year.
okay,
So this year it was. I was possibly going to Puerto Rico.
okay,
Until the virus hit, because
right.
league started like end of March, April. So I was possibly thinking about going to Puerto Rico, but everything got shut down.
So
Gotcha.
you wanted to relive those Florida days, so you want to get sweaty in the gym again.
Yes, sir. I did.
What would you say was your most successful, the team's most successful season at Tennessee? Out of your four, what would you
Most successful season. I mean,
like? You
I
feel like
guess
you
you could
reached
go.
your preseason goals, I guess.
I would say 2008. I mean, we were 31-5. You know,
Mhm.
we got beaten in Sweet 16. I mean, we didn't go as far as we wanted in the tournament, but
Right.
I mean, that was special. You know, winning 31 games, losing 5 games. That's a special season. You know,
Right.
I mean, I didn't, play the best that year. It was a tough year for me. Off the court. With what I was going through, but it was fun to be around my teammates and be able to have those memories with them.
And you brought up that last year and how it was tough. What's that going into the season when you sit down with Bruce Pearl to talk about what you're carrying personally and the cancer? What is that process like to be a college athlete and go
Yeah, I
through
mean,
that?
like I tell people, it was tough. Like, I mean, like when you see those cancer commercials, like, I mean, you don't like as a college kid, high school kid, like that's the last thing you're thinking about. Like, I'm playing high school basketball, like I don't have to worry about that. That's the last thing you think about. And then, when I'm diagnosed, it's just like, man, like it's like crazy. Like, you know, you realize you're like, who are you? You're not special.
Right.
Anybody can get it. And, that really hit me. And, it made me realize like, you never know. You just never know. And another thing with that, when I was young and I thought about cancer, like first thing I think about, oh, I'm dying, like I'm thinking I'm
Mhm.
about to die,
Yeah.
like so it was, good to like, read up and like really, know what cancer is and what, things that, goes into it and stuff people go through. Cause I was just like, you know, when people talk about chemotherapy and radiation, like I know what they're going through now. So I know it's not easy. So like it's a better understanding for it and just, makes me like, like appreciate the tough times because like, like I was always told like, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Mhm.
And it was tough, but I mean I think it was good for me.
All right. And I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, I can't imagine how tough it was not only to live with that, but then to play basketball. We just talked about how grinding the SEC schedule can be
Yeah, it
and
was
the
tough,
workouts can
man.
be. And I mean, it's very admirable that you were able to do all that emotionally and physically.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, it was. I mean, it was difficult. I look back on it, I'm just like, man, it was tough. It was definitely tough, just mentally. I think, just like
Mhm.
because I didn't play the same as I was the year before. I'm, SEC Player of the Year, so
Right.
and then the senior year, I wasn't the same, and it was tough. I mean, there was nights like I didn't sleep good. I would cry and just be like, ask God, why me? Like, what did I,
Mhm.
just thinking like, like the worst, and just, but like I said, I look back and I think it was good for me to realize that basketball was like it's my life, but it was it's not everything. Like
Right.
it's life is precious. You just don't know, and I thank God for that. Just making me go through that tough time to make me realize that like basketball is just a game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are you still kind of close with some of those guys that you played with? I know Jordan Howe was, I think, your roommate, and he was the only player to know, um, when you were diagnosed and everything like that. So, what do you still have a relationship with any of those guys?
Yeah. I talked. It's funny. We were actually a lot of us were on a Zoom call probably a month ago.
Okay.
Because we were talking about playing that. Did you see that TBT tournament going on at ESPN?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
were pretty excited
So
to see
we
you all
were,
playing it.
yeah, we were talking about getting into that, but things didn't work out,
Mhm.
and so we were all on a Zoom call. So I got to talk to a lot of people: Tyler Smith, Duke Cruz, Wayne, and you know, Jawan, Jordan. I still talk to them every now and then. So I still talk to most of them. I would say a few of them for sure.
Do you what's your relationship like with Bruce Pearl still?
Oh, it's good. I mean, I talked. I'm trying to think the last time I talked to him. I saw him over what day? I don't remember, but I remember seeing because I was in Auburn actually. One of my friends' moms died, and so I went down to a funeral there, and Bruce was there, so I got to see and talk to him, and I got to go to watch practice, and just just sitting on
Right.
film study and all that. So it was good to see him and Steven and the whole crew. Just just it made me think back to Tennessee days and how Bruce continues to work hard and prepare his players for their next opponent.
So he doesn't have the pretty feet. He works hard, right?
You have to ask Rick. You have to ask Rick Barnes that. I got pretty. He says I got pretty feet though.
So, Chris, I have a story for you, and you probably don't remember this, but I went to Star Creek Baptist Church in South Knoxville, and we just came out of Sunday school one day, and so the kids are at a Sunday school. We're kind of down because we got to go to big church. Big church is kind of boring. But there was a little bit of commotion in the sanctuary that day, and a lot of Tennessee basketball players were there. And I think you were there. Jordan Howe was there. There's a couple other ones. But I went straight to my mom. I was like, Mom, I got to get a piece of paper. I got to get these autographs. So she was like, I don't have any papers. So you actually signed a prayer request card for me. I think I still got it at my parents' house. So I'm sure you're asked to sign some weird things, but I'm sure a prayer request card was a different one.
I think that's the first I've heard of that one. That's a good story though. It's funny. It's So how old are you?
So we're both 25.
25. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm old. I'm old, man. I'm old.
Yeah. All my Chris Lofton memories are they're my childhood memories.
Yeah, I don't fit in the jersey anymore.
I'm old.
I was when I was shooting my game-winning three in the driveway. It was the winner over KD.
Oh, okay. Long time ago.
Yeah. Who's the most? Speaking of your teammates, who do you think's the most underrated player that you played with at Tennessee?
Underrated. Good question. I had some good teammates, man. Everybody had their thing, what they did best. I'll tell you a player like so JP Prince he was very a good player, he was like 6'6", 6'7", was long athletic. He could play the point, he could guard, multiple positions. I think he was a special player for sure.
That's a
man. I miss those teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The couple of years between Bruce and Rick Barnes were tough. It's a couple of those. You talked about how just all around talented those Bruce Pearl teams were. Man, they were very good.
For sure. No doubt, they were. Bruce is he's a good recruiter.
Kind of going back to that, the 07-08 season, you said 31-5. You end in the Sweet 16. I feel like college basketball I feel like rarely the best team wins it all. What's it like to play such a great season? And obviously you're happy with it. You said it was probably your most successful one there, but it kind of sucks as an athlete. Either your season ends in a championship or in just complete disappointment. So, I mean, you all had a lot of great seasons there that maybe didn't end how you necessarily, saw them ending.
For sure. It was tough, man, especially that last one out 2008. I mean, that was my last game of my career, the worst part, it was on my birthday.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Career-ending loss on my birthday.
Yeah, you can't even go out and celebrate the birthday at that point.
I just knew we were going to win. I was a B-Day player. Right. That's all I wanted. That's all. I don't care how it happens. I could have 0 points. Just give me a victory on my birthday. But
right.
It was tough, man. It was tough. That was the last time I put on that Tennessee orange jersey.
So what's next for Chris Lofton? You mentioned you're trying to go to Puerto Rico. What's kind of next on your plate? I know everybody's trying to get out and start getting life back to normal, I guess, if that's even going to be a thing anymore. But what's kind of next on your plate?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to decide, man. I'm trying to figure out, I think I want to play at least another year, and then after that I'm trying to decide. Like, I've talked about getting into coaching, training. So I don't know at the moment, but if I had to say, I think I want to get into coaching, just to see if I like it.
And you do a basketball tournament or a basketball camp.
Yes.
So when is that, or is that already happened, or is it kind of put on the back burner?
We canceled it for this summer, because of the virus. So hopefully next summer we'll be back.
And it's with somebody else, correct?
Yeah, we're the one in Maysville is with the Darius Miller.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, Darius played at UK.
Yeah.
He plays for the Pelicans now. Yeah, so we're from the same hometown. Like, we're from the same place.
Oh, dang. There's like 9,000 people in Maysville, so it's two of the best college basketball players came out of there. That's awesome.
So we do a camp. Then I do one in Knoxville too. So
okay. Oh yeah, I've heard of that one too. Cool, man.
Well, I've got one more question. Are y'all going to try to do the TBT tournament again? I guess that's next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Next year. Yeah. This year was kind of different because of the virus and everything. We had to get to the hotel and quarantine for 5-6 days, and it just was, a lot. So guys was just like, let's just wait and do it next year.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I was telling them, man, I'll be 35 now. I'm like,
we're have to hurry up,
staff, right? I'm not getting any younger.
I know. The Vol fans expect you to play in it. I know we were all excited to see Tennessee as a whole, but especially Chris Lofton.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I'm getting up there now, 35.
That's awesome. Well, Chris, hey, it was a pleasure having you on. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the time. And we wish you the best. And hopefully we see you on the court soon.
Man, appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We'll see you.
See you, man.
See ya.